G'day punters, welcome back to the Sydney Review Show for 2022. The big races are back, the better horses are here as well, and it's a pleasure to be joined by Mark Shean, Mark Rhoden and Rob Scurry to review these meetings. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. We saw some, overall on the punting form data, they were overall just like an average bunch of performances with the exception of the Group 2 Apollo. How did you see the day unfold?
Oh, we saw plenty of quality coming back to the track, so maybe that was just because there was a bit of rain through the day. But the good horses were there, and you're not going to get much better than that. So, I think we saw some nice cattle there on the weekend.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, in terms of the way that the day unfolded, Mark Shean just mentioned there was a lot of rain around. Did you find there was a distinct track pattern at all?
Pattern-wise, the fence was no good in the straight in particular. It wasn't completely hopeless in the run. A couple of horses were lane one in run and managed to win, but yeah, you'd certainly rather be off fence and particularly in the straight. Just looking at the times, I'm not sure that the rain's... It's had some impact, but not massive on lining up the times. And as to the overall performances, I think, nothing's actually rated through the roof. There's been horses that have come back, clearly at their best or better than they've gone before and have a platform to go again this preparation.
Okay. And Rob Scurry, you obviously will run through a few of these races in particular, but did you find that overall the quality of the parades was what you would expect at this time of year?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with Mark Shean. I haven't had much to follow for weeks, and then just this week I've just filled out my report card as we do for Twitter, and I've got like 5 horses there, which last few weeks I've been struggling to get 1 or 2.
Okay. Well, look, we'll start off with race 1, the 2-year-olds, and then we'll review races 6 and onwards. But the 2-year-old race was over 1,100 metres. In terms of the overall class, they've gone slow, so 4 lengths slow to the 600 there, and Mumbai Jewel was able to come from the back and record some pretty decent sectional splits, it must be said, there for Annabelle Neesham and Sam Clipperton. Rob, I'll start with you. Did anything stand out parade-wise here?
Well, I thought this was, I'm interested in what Mark Shean thinks, but I thought this was the best bunch of 2-year-olds I've seen as a whole. Maybe the best one's not here, but the quality was above other weeks. I found Miss Faberge on top the first starter, which I thought was very professional and kind of looked perfect, ready to go. Its run was unfortunate. Mumbai Jewel, just showing how biased that track was at Rose Hill. I think that's a good horse and certainly can be followed. And the boom on the Mentality, I thought that was very fresh in the yard and squealing, and a big parade watch next time it goes around.
Okay, Mark Shean, what was your read here?
Yeah, I was disappointed with Mentality. I thought he was a bit better than that. Whether or not he'll be better ridden back, but Rob is right. He just got a little bit on the toe and was squealing. He and Sandpaper were exchanging notes there at one stage. But I did think he was a bit better than that. I thought the winner paraded great, and she was against the bias against there the other day at Rose Hill. And these fillies certainly been racing well with the pull and the weights against the Colts in Sydney. So it was good money for her, and she got the job done. Away from that, I think Sandpaper's probably looking for a mile. He certainly improved. I thought he looked better than he did at Canterbury, but a little bit one-paced. Not sure about Miss Faberge. I thought she was a little bit on the small side, to tell you the truth, but she didn't have a great deal of luck.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, did you take anything out of this from a data or ratings point of view?
I don't think they've gone particularly well. Mumbai Jewel was able to come from the back, which I wasn't expecting horses to be able to do, especially in a sprint on Saturday. And that made me question whether the leaders had just stopped a bit and she got over the top of them. I think she's got some... she's not... There was merit in the win. I think she's got some ability, but I'm not sure if any of these are absolute top class. The more I look at them, the more I come to the conclusion that Cool and Gatter might just get away with the skipper by default because it's the only one with anything.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. Let's jump ahead to race 6, which was the Southern Cross over 1,200 metres. Very slow tempo here on punting form's data. They've gone 5.9 lengths slow for the class to the 600. Lost and running, dominant winner in the end. Just basically did what he had to do there. Rob Scurry, run us through the yard.
Lost and running, we'll certainly look forward. I thought it looked better at Newcastle when it won there. It's obviously a Group 1 quality horse, and the market sort of tuned into that. I thought the standout for me was my old mate Superior, a horse I've got a long history with. It was slightly slow away, and I thought at the $30 if Jay Ford or not, it was going to run a huge race, and I think it's run very, very well. And for Standout to beat it for third was a bit upsetting. The other horse I think to follow out of this race is the Annabelle Neesham trained Irish Import Laws of Indices. It's come home with very good sectionals. I'll let the other guys talk about that, but it's certainly got improvement condition to come. Not sure what to do with Ashman. That looked very forward. I'm not sure if that's got much in it this time. Other horse that could certainly improve was the Gai Waterhouse trained Embracer. It looked a bit heavy to me, and can certainly improve it a fair bit. King of Sparta might have had enough.
Okay, Mark Shean, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, look, he was going to win this a long way from home, wasn't he? When he just lobbed in the 1-1 there, he was cantering. Just like the Thicket Over race, they just got in the perfect spot in the run, and he was never really going to be beaten. A lot of horses didn't really aim up here, but Law of Indices with Rob on that. He galloped between races at Warwick Farm on Wednesday with Mwanga. Looked to have his measure, I thought, and got a long way out of his ground here and ran a great race in the Golden Eagle. So he could pick up a good race, this horse, once he gets up to a mile. Looking at his runs in England, he was very one-paced over there, but he showed a lot more dash over here, so I think he's going very well at the moment.
Yep, indeed. Mark Rhoden, we talked about Lost and Running there on Friday when we did the preview show. Quantico's just came out, and the market really only came for that favourite there.
It did, I think. He was the class horse of the race, and the market just tuned into that, and almost by a process of elimination, had horses like Overpass, Passes run second, but he was knocked into a cocked hat, really. Look, everything panned out perfectly for him. It couldn't have gone any better. But he's carried 61 kilos, given them all lumps of weight and brained them. I think he is ready to take the step to top class. Whether he's going to be good enough to actually beat the likes of Make Eduardo, even Home Affairs, the sort of established ones that have won their Group 1s, we don't know. But he certainly deserves his spot in that company now.
Race 7 on the card was the Light Fingers over 1200, and it was all about Espiona on the day, $1.55 at the jump. Slow tempo here, 2 lengths slow to the 600, but Fangirl was able to come from further back and run over the top of the favourite. Rob, run us through how they paraded.
Look, I on another day, I've got something on Fangirl as well here. I thought she just looked a little bit soft. I couldn't give her quite my perfect wallet tick. She just looked a little bit soft and athletic type. I thought maybe better suited to 1600 on type. And I thought maybe the favourite will be hard to beat. As to me, that looked more like a sprinter, 1400 metre horse, and looked a bit more forward than Fangirl. I landed on the little pony, Jamea, which I thought couldn't look any better for what it was. And certainly I thought I was on the winner at the 250, 300. Zuzarella's a big, strong girl, and we had a small play on her. So, no cigar, first 4 in the numbers, and losing race. But I'm certainly looking forward to the rematch. And I think the bubbles burst a bit on this horse. I know it was a good run, but I don't think it's any superstar, and she'll be hard pressed to beat Fangirl next start. Interested what Mark Shean has to say.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting going forward, isn't it? Look, I've been on Fangirl every start, but I thought they'd go too slow for her here, and coming back from a mile, even though she had trialled well in the same trial as Espiona, but I thought it'd be a bit too slick for her. Maybe Espiona got there a bit early at the top of the straight. She had a fight to get the better of Jamea, and then Fangirl just had the last shot on her. Whether that's played into Fangirl's hands, we'll find out in a fortnight's time. Might not be a lot between them. They're both pretty good fillies, so be interesting the betting next time they step out. I thought Heresy was a bit of a hidden run here. I thought she had no luck at all. She was travelling well coming to the turn, and leaders fell back in her lap, and she lost a lot of momentum and picked up again late. So if she can get away from these sort of better ones into the lower level or a level down back at listed level, I think she could pick up a race.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, on the punting form data, there's been a small improvement to Espiona first up versus its first ever start, but I guess that's not particularly saying very much, given that one was on debut and one wasn't. What are you reading into it from a ratings point of view?
She's rated close to her top, but not quite there on my stuff. It's a really interesting situation, this, I think. That Flemington win, everyone thought, here's the next Winks or, something like that. Now, first watching the race live, I thought she'd been caught 3 wide, no cover, but watching the stewards replay, that's not the case. She had cover the whole way. So she can't really use that as an excuse. And what did concern me a little was when he went for her, and she did hit the front, she lay in a little bit, which I don't like to see. It's just a suggestion of a little weakness there, maybe. Maybe she's not going to be the absolute dominant top-class filly we thought. That said, she's pretty good. Interesting to hear Mark say he thought they'd go too slow for Fangirl. Well, really, they did, and she was able to win anyway. This has been a terrific performance at an unsuitable trip. As we know, she'll only get better as the distances increase. And Espiona might have her work cut out turning the tables on her, but I still think she's pretty good. But as I say, I think there might be that little chink in the armour there, and it's going to be fascinating to see going forward.
Around the grounds, who would you like to own, people? I'm Fangirl going forward.
Yeah, well, she's proven at the mile, isn't she? So not the other one doesn't look like she'll get further, but they'll both train on to get further, won't they? That's the thing. But Fangirl definitely will. You'd think she'd get 2,000 easily, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'll just do the brace Sokolsky and buy both.
Good answer.
What about you, Pete?
I didn't know you had that much money, mate.
If we're breeding 2-year-olds, Rob, I'd have to lean for Espiona, wouldn't I?
Well, let's talk about racing. If you could race one.
I would probably lean towards Fangirl. I think you'd pick up more fillies and mares races that way. I think you've got more scope. Anyway, splitting hairs.
Pie in the sky talk.
Exactly. One for those with a few more wins under their belt, I think. Look, the other feature on the card was the Group 2 Apollo over 1,400. And in terms of the speed here, they've gone fast for the class, 2.8 lengths fast to the 600. And Think It Over was really just bolting a long way from home. And Rob, you had a look at these horses in the yard and you had a bet on Think It Over as well as your old mate Ice Bath. But run us through how Very Elegant looked as well.
She looked perfect, forward enough. Walking very well like she has been for the last season or two. I thought she'd be hard to beat. Barrier 1 and the price sort of sway to Think It Over. And he's a bit of a star. I think It Over. He's a great looker. He had a lot of improvement to come. That's right. I thought maybe it was the yard watch. People say, "Oh, not today for him." But his racing pattern is really good, and I think wherever he goes, I'm not sure if she'll be able to beat him next start at the mile. I think he's got a lot of improvement, even maybe more improvement than Very Elegant. Special Reward, I have done the numbers. That's parading very well. That horse has really turned its form around and running really well, and maybe go back a level. Huge run this from I Am Superman. It's always been a fantastic looker, but I didn't think it was this level. And Colette's, she's a bit sweaty, so I'm always a bit dismissive of her. And she's obviously top class, as is, I think, Ice Bath, who jumped very well and got pulled back. So, jumping well and getting pulled back is never a good thing.
Quick word on Hungry Heart. How did she parade?
She just looks like a Saturday horse to me. I've never been a big rap for her. She shoots well enough, good improvement in her, but one of the first ones I kind of dismiss on looks.
Mark Shean, what did you make of the Apollo?
Well, scratching my head with the tactics employed in front here with Iron Superman and Rhoden, I thought they'd come across and go at an even clip. I thought Rhoden would lead in a decent pace and Superman would sit outside her. Well, they went ballistic early. A very surprising drift here with Think It Over, $4.80 out to $8. It was remarkable. And look, I know Rob said he looked like he had some improvement, but I thought he paraded a bit better than he had first up in the past. So an amazing drift, and thank God for it. But the pace early was just a head scratcher. I thought Due wasn't bad from the back, but obviously run to suit and Very Elegant. Well, he just stayed on the fence there when it wasn't travelling anyway. Yeah. But she can obviously improve. But it was a pretty flat run when you think about it.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, what are you making of the data coming back after the wash-up?
I think that Think It Over can just consistently perform at a level that's going to win him a hell of a lot of this sort of weight for age race. I don't know if he's like quite Cox Plate standard, but just, the sort of group 1.5s, he's going to be right in anything. Did pan out perfectly for him, but he took full advantage and killed them. A bit like, as we said, lost and running earlier. I stuffed this race up personally from a betting perspective. I was just in love with Very Elegant's Melbourne Cup run, and its figure was totally unsuited. Still, it's run a long way down. It was wrong spot. There's a lot against it, but it still didn't really do anything, to be honest. Jury out there, I suppose. Again, it's happened before. She's put in ordinary runs early in her preps before and got back to her best. So far too early to be dismissing her, of course. The other one I backed was Rhoden. I'm never backing it again. But, I mean, you could excuse that. It was bizarre tactics for I'm Superman to go that fast and then to chase it just is astonishing, to be honest.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just lob behind it? She half kicked up to get up to its quarters to... it was a bit of a head-scratcher to me.
Just poor judgment of pace. Don't want to stick the boots into Rachel King, but she did this in the Epsom too when the horse got beaten about 20 lengths when she went way too hard on speed that day as well. She just misjudged it again, I think. But he's probably not weight for age class anyway.
Race 9 was the Triscay over 1,200 metres, the Group 3 for the mares. And in terms of the pace here, they've gone very slow to the 600, 6.5 lengths slow, which set it up for the leader, which was Snapdancer, just almost painless if you're on. Rob, there was a few other horses, though, in the field that need to be talked about, including It's Me.
Yeah, she was actually a bet for me. It's Me. I thought she paraded fantastic, very professional, forward enough. I thought she was going to run a good race. Snapdancer looked. She's a bit of a fiery type, but that's her. She's always getting a bit toey. She looked to have the right amount of condition on her, and it was a mistake. Betting against her because she absolutely killed them, and she's a proper mare and probably can win again. Mirror Vision's another one to follow. Looked a bit heavy to my eye, but she's a lovely mare and probably win somewhere in the pretty near future. Promise of success is a horse I'll never catch just because it's just like a little pony kind of thing and not my kind of horse. But it's a race missed opportunity for me. I thought for Choose, probably not run to suit, but looked to parade very well and a bit disappointing.
Okay, Mark Shean?
Well, we had a catastrophic injury to Moonshine Lady in the barrier, and Vangelic was scratched as well. So the two leaders came out of the race, and Snapdancer was just left in front in a dead set walk. So I think first 5 around the home turn were first 5. She's bolted in. Maybe she would have won with the other two in the race, sitting off the speed anyway, but it was really put on for her. I agree with Mirror Vision. I thought she'd try well coming into this, but she looked a bit pretty, and she was one of the ones just a little bit off the pace, and I thought she still finished off quite nicely. So definitely one to follow, getting up to around 1,400 or 1,600 metres for me. A couple of the back markers just got too far back, and so I'd be a little bit forgiving of some of them that were right out the back here. It was very hard to make ground. I agree, It's Me looked pretty good, but it is a big task to come back from that long after a tendon injury.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, are you following anything out of this?
Not really. The winner's pretty good, obviously, when things go her way, like they did on Saturday. I suppose because of the lack of speed in the race, things that did settle second half of the field, you have to be forgiving on, but they sort of did, as Mark alluded to, they sort of just went round in formation. I had something on Electric Girl at the price who had every chance, ran quite well for third, but just a little out of her depth on the day. Too smart back of each way at $6 a place, of course. Not much to say about it, but I think the winner is pretty good, and she's got a lovely racing style, so she's going to win plenty of races.
And that brings us to the last. It was a 1,300 metre benchmark 88, fast tempo, 3.8 lengths fast to the 600, but trialled like Far Lap, otherwise known as like Gai Soleil. It was reasonably painless in the last concluding stages, but I think everyone ended up backing this. So, Rob, I'll start with you. What did they look like in the yard?
Look, this looked outstanding. She's not a very big horse. I wouldn't necessarily call it my kind of horse, but God, she could. I know John O'Shea's. In my mind, I've got him as a bit of a fresh trainer, and this horse just was dappled up and just looked sharp and ready to go. And then those words ring in my mind, tried like Far Lap. So yeah, it quickly became a bet. I thought the ones that looked well in the yard ran well. So yeah, I wasn't overly surprised with the place getters. But yeah, she's probably the one to follow out of the race, Gai Soleil. But very good runs too. I thought Bound to Win was pretty good first up. Bring the Ransom looked like it had trained on nicely. Vinciano, not sure what to do with her. She looked very fit and maybe a bit disappointing. She might be a bit of a Kenzo horse, Kenzo Canterbury. I think she's got her best format. But the winner, I'm not sure where she goes, but probably up in class and can run well again.
Yep. Mark Shean, great price, well done, well found. When you said trial like Far Lap, was there any particular small part of the trial that you thought really stood out for those watching at home that might be able to pick up on some of these factors going forward?
Well, I think she ran second or third in that trial, but Overpass was just inside her, who had won a weight for age race as well, and just the turn of foot she showed when he just gave her a dig in the ribs. Something that, she has produced in the past sometimes on race day. She'd had a flat preparation here and there, but, she just looked to go the line really good, and it did set up nicely for her here. They went pretty quick. Matavatapi put the speed on. Vinciano was disappointing. I thought she looked quite good in the yard, but the fact she was forced to chase, she didn't really put in, and it may have put it on for the winner, who did go quite well. Bound to Win's come back okay. It looked they'd clashed with Gai Soleil one other time, and Gai Soleil was pretty unlucky in that race. So they're pretty much joined at the hip, those two, with Gai Soleil just having the edge, I'd say. And just whether she's getting better company and get that far back in a bigger field, that's the problem with her. She's got a bad racing style. Things went her way on Saturday.
Yep. And Mark Rhoden, anything to follow out of this race for you?
No, I think the winner did trial. Gave the impression in that trial that she'd come back better, and I think the figures suggest she has. Her racing style notwithstanding, I think she's pretty smart. Certainly better than this sort of benchmark grade, but how far she can go remains to be seen. I ended up with her, as you sort of alluded to. I was already on in Vinciano and something smaller on Bring the Ransom, but when the change of tactics on Matavatapi was announced, that they were going to lead like they'd done in its trial with the blinkers on, I thought that would actually set it up nicely for Gai Soleil. Unfortunately, added her. And so, yes, I think everyone's ended up on it. I know Dicko's had a fair crack at it too, so everyone rounded off the afternoon with a bit of a spring in their step, which was very pleasing.
Yes, indeed. All right, that brings us to the end. I'll get some horses to follow from each of you. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Well, I think Laura Vindish going to win a nice race. Probably one of those handicaps leading up to the Doncaster. I'm pretty sure that'll be his target. But I think once he gets up around a mile, Annabelle Nation might have a very nice horse on his hands. So on her hands, I should say, Laura Vindish.
Okay, Mark Rhoden.
I just think Lost and Running, Fangirl, even Think It Over to some extent, but he's a bit older and further into his career. But Lost and Running and Fangirl have really consolidated a base to step to another level. So that should mean to see them winning some Group 1s this autumn. Okay.
And Rob Scurry, a couple to follow out of the yard. Oh, you're just on mute, Rob. Go again.
Sorry, mate. Dog was barking. I've got Fangirl, Law of Indices, Think It Over, Miss Faberge, and Delexo, who was very unlucky not to win. I think it's better than a midway horse and could find its way up to, I don't know, sort of Malkovich level. That sort of, maybe it is early in this prep, but I think it's a big, strong horse with, good ability and could certainly, make a listed level horse.
All right, very good. This Saturday we've got Rose Hill. We've got 3 Group 2s: the Hobartville, the Silver Slipper, and the Millie Fox. But Mark Shean, we see. At this early stage, Animo should be running in the Hobartville, and the Group 2 for the 2-year-olds, the Silver Slipper, looks pretty competitive.
Yeah, well, Rob can talk about Animo's parade the other day, but it certainly wasn't a good parade, so you can expect a better horse or you hopefully can expect a better horse to show up on Saturday.
Yep.
What do you think, Rob?
Oh, it was very fresh. It was trying to kill somebody every time it walked past the clock there. kicking at this bloke, and
He looked like he'd been in the pool as well. He was dripping.
Oh, we just lost Rob. Rob's just frozen. That's okay.
Anyway, I remember
Rob.
I spoke to Rob on the phone that day, and he said it was a dreadful parade.
Yeah, exactly right.
And also had the track bias against it as well. It was a very good run, really.
Yeah, very much so. Look, we'll be back on Friday with Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden to preview the meeting. We'll be back next Monday to review the meeting. Until then, guys, enjoy the week. Go well.